Hey, Rick Fiebs here. Welcome to The Long Aim. The aim is to help men over 50 live big while aging well. Today's show is going to be all about metabolic health. We're going to break this down and educate you on why metabolic health is super important to your overall health. Most people don't know this, but poor metabolic health is actually correlated to the 4 leading causes of disease-associated deaths: cancer, heart disease, dementia, and diabetes. By the end of the show, you're going to learn some very simple ways to gain control of your metabolic health, and I think you're going to realize it's actually a game changer. What I'll be sharing is not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I have studied nutrition and wellness for I'm going on 4 decades now. I follow all the top experts in the field. I pretty much test and try most everything on myself. So why should you trust a guy like me to give you advice? First of all, I'm not here to make money. I don't have endorsements or sponsorships, and I don't plan to. This is my life's passion. I'm also on a crusade to optimize brain health. I've had several concussions over the years playing contact sports. I've lost my parents to Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's far too early. And at 63, I've already lost too many friends and family members due to poor health. My life's purpose now is to help others live healthier and happier lives. So why am I talking to you today about metabolic health? Follow me on this. In optimizing my brain health, I actually went down a path to optimize my sleep. And that led me down another path to actually fixing my metabolic health and my blood glucose regulation. Why fix instead of optimize? I've always been super active and really never had a sweet tooth, so calories and carbs were never on my radar. Think of your metabolic health as your body's energy system. It's very similar to a highway system with traffic flowing smoothly to its final destination. Most of the time, your primary fuel is going to be carbohydrates, and the carbs are then going to break down into blood glucose or blood sugar. They have the same meaning in this context. This is the fuel that your body runs on. Glucose travels through your bloodstream, technically in the plasma, like cars traveling along that highway, delivering fuel to your muscles, your organs, and your brain. Your body works to keep the glucose in a healthy range so everything runs smoothly. Insulin is one way of doing that. Similar to traffic lights on a highway system, but when you eat more carbs than your body can handle all at once, your glucose spikes. Not a big deal every once in a while, but frequent big spikes are kind of like the rush hour traffic jams. The traffic lights don't work to regulate the traffic, and your system just gets overwhelmed. Over time, this can lead to what's called insulin resistance. This is when your body stops responding to insulin's open up signals. Glucose builds up in the blood, insulin stays high, your body works overtime to cope. And insulin resistance is a major factor in type 2 diabetes, in heart disease, fatty liver, and also brain health issues. Now that we know the importance of metabolic health, how do we control it? Well, we now have the ability to control it using a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM. These devices are currently available on Amazon over the counter in the US, and they're now available for wellness purposes. It's pretty cool. No prescription needed. What the CGMs do is they measure your glucose levels continuously 24/7, and they show how well you're regulating and clearing the blood sugar from your system. Why is this important? Because your annual physical and your blood panel will not tell you how well your glucose is behaving all day long. They're only snapshots. With a CGM, you're going to understand patterns in real time, patterns around eating, activity, sleeping, and even stress. Those all affect your glucose levels. And get this, like 2 people can eat the same carb and have completely different responses. So getting control of your metabolic health will not only help fight off disease, but it's also going to help with weight loss, with your energy levels, and you're going to sleep better, just your overall happiness. It's pretty amazing. And honestly, I found CGM tracking to be actually a lot of fun and quite addictive. There are a few different brands out there to consider: Dexcom, Abbott, and some others. I went with Dexcom Stello mainly because it syncs up with my Aura sleep tracking device. What these are is they're basically sensors that you insert on the back of your arm, your tricep area, and they pop in quick and painless. These devices are typically sold in 2-packs. They last for 14 days each, so you get about 30 days of tracking. And they're sold for about $100 for a 2-pack. The sensor will take about 15 minutes to sync to your Stello app. Once activated, your level will appear at the top and it'll update about every 5 minutes. You'll notice the target range is going to be shaded in green here. It's defaulting to a range of 70 to 140, which is considered a normal range. You can compare days, scroll timelines, and tag events like meals and workouts to spot patterns. Tagging events is super important. These are the 5 things I'm watching for: spikes that go above my range, how quickly I return to baseline, how stable my glucose is throughout the day, what my glucose level is at bedtime, and then what my fasting glucose is in the morning. These are the clues that tell me how well my energy system is working. Day 1 of my tracking, I stayed mostly in range, but my levels were all over the place. Even at bedtime around 10 p.m., my glucose was still pretty high. It didn't drop back down until after 2 a.m. Fast forward a week, by day 7, my averages were actually lower. Spikes mostly stayed within range, and my recovery time was much, much faster. I mentioned earlier that brain health is my top concern. Get this, your brain uses about 25% of your total energy. It's even using it while you're sleeping. 25%. Deep sleep. Deep sleep is usually happening in the first half of your sleep cycle, and it's basically when brain repair happens. There's a system called the glymphatic system, and that basically kicks in during deep sleep, and it sweeps out all that waste. So getting back to glucose, if your glucose level is still high from, let's say, a late carb-heavy dinner, this could actually slow that cleanup process. I saw my own deep sleep improve from 25 minutes to 77 minutes. And all I did was I basically adjusted my dinner eating time and, kind of habit. Your fasting blood glucose is defined as your glucose level 8 to 12 hours after finishing your last meal. This indicates how well your body clears glucose without food coming in. I started this delicious chicken stir-fry meal at 6:10 p.m. and finished at about 6:45 p.m. You want this fasting level under 100 and ideally in the 80s for most adults. Mine came in at 83 approximately 12 hours later. I suggest a 30-day first run. Weeks 1 and 2, just eat normally. Don't hold back. Here's why. One of my all-time faves is sushi. For this meal, I had 2 rolls, a spicy salmon roll and a butterfly roll. That meal actually gave me 3 spikes lasting over 5 hours. I ate a little later that night at 7:45. Now look at the second spike. It peaked at 160 at 10:10 p.m. and that's actually when I started sleeping. Earlier, I talked about how glucose levels can impact your sleep. Well, consequently that night, I only had 6 minutes of deep sleep. And I also had several wake-ups and a high resting heart rate through the spike. Weeks 3 and 4, test variables. Things like your meal times, adjusting your carbs, taking walks after dinner. This is where you really dial things in and make those changes. Here's what's going to work best for most people. Reduce eating ultra-processed foods and refined carbs. Complex carbs and fiber are going to convert to glucose much steadier and much smoother. Start the meals with the protein and fats that are on your plate. This makes the carbs wait a little bit. It slows the conversion down to glucose. Learn your unique carb responses. Common ones to test are potatoes versus pasta versus rice. Move after meals. A 15-minute brisk walk can stop a spike right in its tracks. Stop eating 3 hours before bed. I think this is the most important one. Slow that digestive system down at sleep time so the cleanup crew can get in there and work better. Lastly, work towards an 8 to 12 hour eating window. During this fasting period, your body is actually transitioning and then it's starting to tap into stored energy like fat. Also during fasting, cellular repair is taking place, so that improves as well. A couple final thoughts to leave you with. If you're going to move forward with tracking, make sure you do it for a 30-day period. And I would also recommend doing it twice a year. That that kind of takes into consideration lifestyle changes and also seasonality. And I guess if you're having some challenges and you have more work to do, then do it more frequently. Secondly, it's super important that you're logging your meals and your activity levels. That's really where you're going to find the patterns emerging and where you're going to get the most from the process. I've only scratched the surface on metabolic health. If you want to do a deeper dive, I would check out Dr. Andrew Huberman's interview with Dr. Casey Means. I've attached the link to the show in the notes. I've also included links to more information on the Dexcom CGM as well. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to our new channel and also check out our website at thelongaim.com, where we help men over 50 live big while aging well.